Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to Popcast on the Rocks. This is a podcast about pop culture that we find interesting. Welcome to episode 43. My name is John. I'm joined by Andrea. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm good. Can't believe it's 3 days before Christmas. So Christmas countdown
Yes.
officially has started.
Your,
I
your
can't believe it.
countdown starts now?
I'm starting it with our episode. I mean, like this is like the
Okay.
start of
All right.
like Christmas festivities this week and like
Okay.
I mean, obviously I'm ready for Christmas. We have our tree
Yep.
up and decorated and presents are here and wrapped mostly. But yeah, no, I'm starting like our official like festivities tonight. So,
Nice. Awesome.
yeah. How about you? How are you doing?
Good. Yeah. Been painting today.
Okay.
And then as far as like holiday stuff, we did a Super Mario Brothers gingerbread house. There was this little
Nice.
like kit that we got, and so that was fun.
So what did you
We've been
build? Like, did you build characters? Did you build like
no,
blocks?
it's very lame. Well, it's not lame. I like it because I've never done one before. But basically, it's a kit, so it comes with like the sides of the castle, like Peach's
Oh,
castle, and so you
okay.
put together the castle, and then you decorate the windows and put on the little stars and stuff like that.
Okay.
So
All right. That seems cute.
yeah, it's the easier route, I suppose. But I've never done one. Start somewhere, so it was just fun.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, next
Yep.
next year you'll be building like model replicas and like whole
Hmm.
Mario levels.
Life size.
That's right. That's right. I expect to
Um,
come over for a Christmas party and have to eat my way out in gingerbread next year.
well, I don't know. It's the gingerbread for this stuff is usually pretty crunchy and tough, so
True,
not
true.
the most appetizing.
Solid building material though.
Yep. Yep, that's for sure. Well, what are your festivities going to consist of? Anything extraordinary?
Well, we're watching, I mean, speaking of, baking and gingerbread, we're watching Great British Baking Show Holiday Edition, which I just learned was on Netflix.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, and then we're gonna be driving around and looking at some lights, which we did already kind of do. So we went to the state fair. The fairgrounds has like a whole light show setup
Mm,
going on. It's pretty cool. I would definitely recommend it. It's called Glow, which is kind of an odd title, but um, yeah, they have like different like theme stations and like you just drive around different areas, and of course they have like Christmas light up animals kind of set up by the animal barns. They've got like a whole forest going on. They've got like Santa's workshop and presents and yeah, it was pretty cool. I really enjoyed that. So that was kind of a fun different thing we did this year. Um, we discovered we're kind of the people into driving around looking at lights, so I think we're going to go do that again. And then we've got a multitude of Christmas Zoom calls with family to open presents together,
okay.
both on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And then we've got Christmas movie marathon, so we're
Okay.
gonna we're gonna dive into some of the classics that we both love. So
Thanks.
Chris actually suggested watching every version of A Christmas Carol that is out there.
Oh God.
Yeah, that was
Kill
literally my
myself.
reaction too.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
he was very surprised. He was like, "Oh, as an English major, I thought you'd be into this," and I was like, "No, no, I'm not that into it. I mean, I
I
like
think.
some Dickens, but it's a lot."
Yeah. Hmm. I mean, every version, it's remarkably overdone. I
Yes,
swear it's the only tale that there is to tell.
right. Well,
Uh,
then you think of like are you counting like spoofs or like adaptations like modern day? Because I think like Hallmark and Lifetime and all those Christmas movie channels have at least done some sort of like crazy adaptation of
yeah.
this basic story. So then are we counting those? Do I have to sit through those? Like, yeah. I just wasn't quite
Yep.
up for all of that.
Yeah. That sounds like a not fun time. You can tell
Yeah.
Chris, you know, pass. Hard
Yeah.
pass.
I don't think he quite thought it through. I think he was
Sure.
thinking more of like, oh, like Bill
You pick your top
Murray.
3.
Right. Yeah. He was thinking like Bill Murray, Scrooge, or like Michael Caine and,
Mhm.
A Muppet Christmas Carol, or, stuff like that.
That's
It's,
it.
yeah.
That's all you need to
I
do
mean,
right there.
I'd be good with that. Or, there's one other one that I like. Patrick Stewart's Christmas Carol. I do like that one too. Because how can you
Oh,
not
was
like
that like a
Patrick Stewart?
PBS one or something, or like
Yeah.
a BBC?
Yeah.
Okay.
So how do you not like
I haven't
that?
seen that.
But, yeah. I think he was just thinking of those and not really thinking through all the possibilities. So
Yep. Well, for the Christmas episode, I thought I'd try to like dress a little fancier.
yeah.
And then I'm not abiding by any of the drink days, but I tried to make a very Christmassy drink. And I'm going to try to not spill it and show it
Okay.
on camera. I thought, well, I'll dress like a
Ooh,
hipster bartender and
right.
make a hipster bartender kind of drink.
What do you got?
So, yeah, I don't know if it's showing up good there or not, but so basically, I made a simple syrup that consisted of pomegranates, pear,
Ooh.
and it's a different kind of pear. I forgot the name. They have the brown skin.
Oh, yeah.
They're good. They're soft and sweet.
Yeah.
And then basil,
Okay.
salt, and I think that's all I put in there. I'm hoping I didn't forget anything. So, and then obviously equal parts sugar and water.
Okay.
Then then that went in my drink. Obviously, once it was cooled. Oh, cinnamon was in there too, of course. And then the drink is then gin and vermouth, so it's a martini with the simple syrup, and then egg yolk, and then shavings of nutmeg on top. So,
Wow. Yeah, it sounds fancy. I mean, you got a lot of different Christmas flavors going on in there.
yeah, I
Got
was
a lot
hoping to be kind of Christmassy in my mouth. It's like the
of
juniper of gin feels,
right. A little
piney. It's like that's
cranberry.
like Christmas thing. And then yeah, pomegranates kind of are in season, and
Oh,
then the
yeah.
warming spices, and so yeah.
Nice. Well, very cool. You look very fancy. I was thinking like, yeah, when you said, you're dressing up, I was like, oh yeah, I should dress up too. And I kind of did a little bit. I mean, I got like a red sweater and some, like white snowflake necklace.
Hmm.
Um, but I forgot, even though I have this, daily reminder, I'm pregnant, so my stuff doesn't fit me. So I was
I
like
thought,
going to put on my clothes and I was like, what am I doing? Like, obviously this isn't going to fit me the way that it used to. So, like, yeah, I've got a sweater, which, obviously is fitting, but yeah, I
you
don't
could
know
have just
why.
wore it just like up to,
Right? Up to
yeah,
my shoulders here and just been
yeah.
like, Alan, zoom in on me. Don't show the belly. Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, it's so obvious. I remember every single other second of the day because, I can't really forget my belly's attached to me. But yeah, I went to put on my clothes and was just like, Andrea, there's a reason this doesn't fit anymore.
I get it. I mean, I texted that very late. I wasn't thinking ahead at all. I just was like, well, I'm gonna
Nope.
make a nice Christmas cocktail. Well,
Yeah.
it's gonna turn out to be a fancy cocktail. I should dress up for the Christmas thing a little bit. And I thought I'd give you the heads up, but I thought of that
Yeah.
as well. It's like how many fancier things has Andrea picked out for pregnancy?
Yeah,
You
not
know,
many is the answer.
unless you're a housewife, a real housewives of Atlanta or Potomac or something, it's
Right.
probably not
No
number
need.
one on the list.
Well, and especially, I mean, we're not really going anywhere. We're all
Right.
inside our homes and whatnot. So especially, I haven't felt the need to buy anything fancy maternity clothes wise.
Right.
Um, but I did actually, funnily enough, just tell Chris the other day. I was like, next year on Christmas, when it's all safe and we're all together and having big parties again, we're gonna have like a fancy Christmas. Like
Mm,
I'm dressing up to like to the nines.
sure.
Uh, I don't care if anybody else does it with me. I hope they do so we can just have like a fun, fancy Christmas because I miss it, but I'm doing it. So hopefully by then I'll be back and like fitting in some things again.
Well, for Halloween, we keep a running list of upcoming potential themes, and one of them is for a while been masquerade, and so
Ooh,
that would be,
fun.
the intent would be black tie event, kind of whatever
Yeah. Very
as
fun.
fancy as you can get,
I
uh,
have a
on
feeling
mask.
that once everything kind of hits us in 2021 and we're kind of given the all clear. I have a feeling that people are just going to get not only crazy but also fancy because I think people do miss getting dressed up and like looking nice. There's something very comfortable about living in sweatpants and living in like your gym clothes or workout clothes or whatever, but there's definitely an element to where you like miss getting dressed up. So I think
I
it's going to
mean,
be
I
big.
think for a lot of people, for sure, for Ashley and I think
Hmm.
there's plenty other people though too that just you get used to it enough,
Hmm.
and then maybe put on a few pounds and the other clothes doesn't fit anymore, and it's like I'll just you know resolve to be this.
No, I
But
think I think 2021 is going to give us goals again. It's going to give us like Fitspo goals, and we're all just want to get
okay,
dolled up and go crazy. So that's my
okay.
plan anyway.
All right, I'll remember you said it.
All right.
um
You'll have
I
video
speak
proof.
I will, yeah. Speaking of like goals and such,
Hmm.
Apple Fitness Plus launched the other day, and so gave that a
Yes.
shot. Um, and it seems good. It seems well done so far. And I'm very out of cardiovascular peak fitness. It's not present in my body. So, but we can work at it.
That's right.
So,
You've got time.
yep. So the rest of the week, I guess I've been up to. I started D&D again with another group.
Nice.
Um,
How's that been going? Running
so,
2 campaigns.
well, I mean, after just this one first new session now, well, we'll see how it goes, switching back and forth,
Okay.
um, trying to keep everybody straight in what they're doing when they're potentially doing the same things and not doing the same things and all that. So,
Sure.
but yeah, and then come up with a couple short one-shot D&Ds too. Uh, So, so if you ever
Nice.
want to do a short one-shot D&D, like you and Chris or something like that, all you need is some dice. So,
All right. I'd be down.
okay. Um, well, so drink holidays. I talked about my drink, but what should everybody else be drinking now over the holidays here?
That's right. Well, they've got a plethora of options. Um, on December 20th, it was Sangria Day. So that is what I'm honoring. It's kind of matching my like red Christmas sweater. So it's
Oh
like,
yeah,
it's a little festive going on.
burgundy all around. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Um, and then I thought this was interesting. So December 24th is Eggnog Day. I feel like to nobody's surprise.
Sure.
But then December 21st is I think I'm saying this right, Coquito Day.
Looks like it.
And it's basically like the Mexican version of eggnog.
Mhm.
So you use tequila, you use a few different spices, but it's basically the same thing as eggnog. So
So would you put eggnog in it? So you're
no,
saying it's oh
mm-mm, it's
okay.
like homemade eggnog, like what you make like eggnog with, you would never use like a pre-bought or store-made eggnog. It's like you have to whip everything by hand, put the tequila in, put the spices in, and then it comes out basically like eggnog, like a,
Okay.
close kind of
Yeah.
cousin or sister or whatever you want to call it, but it's not quite the same. But it's like their version because they don't drink eggnog.
And that's specifically from Mexico.
Yes.
I'll have to look that up because if someone told me to do like you know, a Mexican holiday themed drink, maybe I would, and especially if someone brought up eggnog, I would think of horchata. It's
Oh
like a
yeah,
rice
right.
milk, cinnamon rice milk thing, and that you could spike and would be delicious.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um,
I
yeah.
typically at this time of year, we're usually attending holiday parties with friends and things like that. And I've got a particular party that I usually go to, um, where my friend's mother and I do fireball and horchata shots.
Mm,
And
yeah.
that's like our tradition every year. And it's very good. It's, very festive, very holiday. It's of course the first thing I think of too when I think like, you know, a Mexican holiday drink. Um,
Fireball in the right situation or with the right thing
yeah,
is definitely plays a role. Uh,
absolutely.
I mean, it gets made fun
Can
of, I think, but
yeah. I was gonna say it can be dangerous, can get away from you. But yeah, I think just that like little bit of extra kick with the horchata because it gets so sweet if you have it on its own. So
I don't. I mean, I will do it, but I don't prefer or would ask for a fireball shot. I feel like, I mean, is that maybe a millennial thing to do that I don't like to do? I feel like that's might be the case.
no, I
It's
feel
just
like I feel like that really had its heyday when it first came out. Like Fireball was, like I don't know. It just went through a phase and then of course you had like Pitbull has a song Fireball and
like,
that was like a whole thing that everybody was doing and now it's kind of passé. Um
yeah. I feel like I should shave my head completely right now, and that would be kind of a Pitbull
oh my gosh. You could
sort of. I
totally you
mean,
would just need some sunglasses too. It would totally work. I
yeah,
see this right now.
yep.
Absolutely.
He's pretty pale.
You could be Mr.
Um,
Worldwide. I mean, seriously.
we always call him Bulldog now,
Bulldog? Why is
because
that?
Wes accidentally called him Bulldog once instead of Pitbull, and
Mhm.
so now we call him Bulldog, and we get confused of which it is at moments. It's like, wait, it is Pitbull, right? Okay, yes,
You're like talking yourself into it. Someday
yeah.
you're
We're
just
just
gonna
so
like
used to
completely
saying
be
Bulldog.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be pretty
So,
great. Well, some Halloween, for whatever theme in the future, you've got a
yeah.
costume like right here.
Mm, I don't know. I don't think I want to shave my head. Uh,
I feel like you'd have to have some other reason to shave your head too. Like you're gonna play another character or
yeah.
maybe like one year for Renaissance Festival we are all going as something and you were like, "Oh, I really want to shave my head and do it." You'd have to do it like at the same time as something else cuz yeah, I don't know if shaving your head just to look like Pitbull would be reason enough.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll deal with that as it when it comes. All right, not too much news, I
Mhm.
guess. Usually I suppose it's kind of quiet before Christmas and stuff. People
That's right.
are starting to hit up break and things.
Mhm.
But of course, in the theme of Christmas, a little later on, we'll talk about some of our favorite Christmas movies and a new one we watched this week. New for us, anyhow. But to kick it off, we didn't talk about the Game Awards at all.
Mhm.
Jeff Keighley's Game Awards from
Mhm.
December 10th.
That's right.
Um, do we have any lingering thoughts or anything
I
from that?
yeah. I mean, I don't think it was very surprising, which I'm kind of disappointed about. I kind of wanted some surprises in there, some more um, different titles to win. I just felt like I said last time when you and I just discussed it, it was really the Last of Us show,
Yep.
and I'm kind of bummed about it. I mean, doesn't mean I don't think it's a good game. It just means, I just was kind of hoping to see some love for some other games. So,
Sure. I mean, some other sites and publisher or publications, I guess, are starting to release their own winners of different things. I think IGN gave Hades Game of the Year, and then
yes.
every other award to Last of Us Part 2.
Yep.
And then GameSpot, I think, gave Game of the Year to Half-Life Alyx.
Oh, okay.
And the Steam Awards are ongoing.
Yep.
They've announced nominations. So,
Mm-hmm.
so Jeff Keighley's not the only one. It's just the big one that traditionally, or it would get televised and stuff.
Right.
I mean, we've kind of moved past that now, I guess. But there was a period of time where it's like, wow, I can turn on the television, DirecTV or whatever, and watch this event. So that made it a bigger thing and got more people paying attention.
Absolutely.
Oh, how times have changed.
True indeed.
Let's see. Cyberpunk has been been put through the ringer. Kind of continues. There is some potential lawsuits coming. We'll see if those amount to anything or not. Sony at first wasn't giving refunds for console users that purchased the game when CG Projekt was saying that that would happen. But then they started giving refunds, and then they just pulled it from the store.
Yep.
There's a disclaimer, I think, on the Xbox store.
There is. I noticed that, unfortunately, Keanu Reeves is no longer showing up on my TV to tout Cyberpunk 2077. So they've pulled ads, for the game as well. So, not great. Not great. Not a good look.
Because it's a great game. It's really good. Ashley finished the mainline story the other day.
Wow.
It's doing extra stuff now. And I haven't had as much time to play it, but still loving it. Everybody, if you don't have a decent PC and you don't have a next gen console, just wait till you get a next gen console to play it.
Yep.
And if you bought it, it sucks, but return it. There's lots of other games to play. Play something else in the meantime.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I'm pretty bummed out. I feel like I understand frustrations for sure. That there's no reason to, celebrate this or be happy about the glitches that have been going on. But I don't know. I also feel like people just get a little too impatient sometimes and get a little too entitled and get a little too, I don't know, maybe they're just too quick to get worked up about something if it doesn't work exactly perfectly, you know? Yeah. So I just feel like there's been a little bit too much
rage
complaining
culture
about this.
is a thing. People are more apt, a lot of people locking themselves inside, so you're more apt to get a little agitated, a little quicker, and it's easy to jump on board for something else, jump on the bandwagon in the complaint train. And I don't want to say I don't understand, because there's lots of people. I would argue probably most of the people in the market for this game, they don't pay attention to the gaming news or anything. It's what comes through their feed. They see headlines, and otherwise they just this game looks awesome, I'm going to buy it. Some foolish parent buys it for their kid. Whatever it is, and so a lot of people are getting this completely unaware. They see it in the store. They expect that it's going to function on their system, and then it doesn't. And For everyone else that's like in the gaming space and in the news and stuff, it's a little more, it's relax a little bit because you're aware and paying attention to that. But
Right.
so, and not everybody gets a new console every time.
True.
Some people
True.
they make their system last a long time and they still have things to play and
Right.
whatever. So
Well, and I totally get that. I just feel like then if you're one of those people, which we are, I mean, we don't tend to, get a new system every time. Um, you just sort of expect these things then. Like or you again, you don't have to be happy about it, or you just kind of are like, stuff happens. Stuff doesn't always work exactly perfectly, when you're going backwards a generation or two. Um, and am I happy about it? No. Should I just make somebody aware of the issue? Yes. Deal with it until somebody says, like, we'll fix it. Yeah. Like, it's
Well,
just as simple as that.
and anyone that's been gaming in the last 5 to 10 years understands how the gaming space has changed in terms of, when you bought a game on the SNES or the Dreamcast, if that game was delivered broken, it's broken. And so there was a pretty big expectation that the game would be functional.
Right.
Because I have a Dreamcast. This game says it's for the Dreamcast. I can put it in the system and it will play. And that's a great expectation, but we are shifting to a world where the games are getting bigger and more complex, and almost every game has a giant day one patch. We did not have the internet before for which to deliver updates, fixes, improvements, changes. And so we're inherently going to get more problems that then need to be fixed with those updates because we can. And it's a crutch. But also you get to be thankful that you can fix the problems.
Right.
So
Exactly.
it's just changing.
Yep.
Any other gaming talk or gaming news before we move on?
Nothing here.
All right. I will not speak of the Mandalorian season 2 finale other than to say, yay.
Okay.
It was good. Not exactly how I wanted to go, but I think season 2 was quite a bit better than season 1, and
okay.
I think it's someone is snarkily posted today. It's like, oh yeah, Star Wars fatigue, you say, because that was Kathleen Kennedy's line before when Star Wars was not performing as well as they anticipated or whatever. Still performed well, but we're it's too much at once. Well, then they announced a dozen shows. So clearly you didn't clearly it was not, you were aware it's not Star Wars fatigue. It's your shit sucked, okay?
Right.
But anyways, The Mandalorian finished season 2 strong, and they also announced another new show to join the lineup.
Yeah.
The Book of Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm.
So
I will definitely watch that.
Nice. Good
character.
I mean, we're gonna have,
why not?
Yeah. Classic. It's tough. Boba Fett is a Wolverine kind of character. Sort of an anti-hero that Wolverine, I would argue, is his best when, you don't have a lot explained about him. The mystery is part of the allure. And it's the same with Boba Fett to an extent. And, as you explain more and tell more and show more, it's kind of like, let's see if I can think of an example without being crass. It's kind of like James Bond. Okay, so James Bond, oh wow, classy. Okay, he's on point all the time or whatever. But then you don't see him using the restroom.
Okay, all right.
Wouldn't be appealing, right?
Right.
All of a sudden,
well,
this is a person,
Well, I mean, but who do you see using the restroom in
No,
like
I
any
know. I'm
movie
just
or
saying.
whatever?
Right. Right. Well, I mean,
Because it's the
sometimes,
magic of
but
movies. Nobody has to go to the bathroom.
yeah, sometimes. But or
Yeah.
he's never like, I don't know, is smelling his
Brushing
shoe
his
to see
teeth.
if it smelled.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to put powder in my shoe or something, right? Whatever,
Yeah.
gross,
He doesn't do
normal
the
things.
mundane, like
Yes.
ordinary tasks
Yes.
of living life. I
So as
get you.
soon as you start showing more of Boba Fett and his day to day or whatever,
Yeah.
and you need to inherently add some depth. You take away the mystique. You take away the great larger than life. You start taking these things away. So it's a careful tightrope to walk.
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
Speaking of James Bond, MGM is for sale. You in the market,
Yes.
Andrea?
Yeah. Let me just whip out the millions I have, stored in the bank somewhere.
All right, let's get it going.
Mm-hmm.
So they're talking maybe $5 billion. We'll see what it actually goes for and who buys.
I see. So my paltry millions wouldn't even cover it.
Yep. But yeah, we'll see. James Bond will be in new hands before too long, it seems like.
Well, it'll be a
So,
new James Bond, so
right. Yeah. I guess
maybe
it's the
that.
time to do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe that'll be a really good thing. You
Yeah.
know, whoever is chosen. I know there's so many names still being bandied about, and there is talk of possibly a Jane Bond. I don't know how realistic that talk is, but it's out there. So we'll see. We'll see what a new studio might want to do. Our new studio head.
Yeah. I mean, I love James Bond. I've a big fan of the films, but
Mhm.
we could take a break, you
Yeah.
know.
Hmm.
It's we'll get to that with another storied British franchise later. But
Indeed.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I agree. I think even though James Bond really hasn't come out as regularly, in the past few years, it's not like an every year kind of thing. I feel like maybe there is actual fatigue there. And I don't know if it's maybe on the part of the studio or it's maybe some of Daniel Craig's kind of fatigue coming through the screen. Um, Not sure. But yeah, it hasn't been quite as engaging and quite as fun. I feel like it's maybe lost some fun that was and the kind of energy that was present maybe in Daniel Craig's like first outing just kind of has
mm,
fallen away and it's gotten a little too convoluted, a little too deep for itself. So yeah, I could take a break.
yeah, it's a um, James Bond gets into a rough patch when it tries to resist its identity
Mhm.
or like misses what its identity is,
Right.
and that's happened plenty. I think where it's seen the trends and started to follow them instead of making them or sticking to what they do. And I just think that also now people's standards are higher in a way.
Yeah.
And so, whereas I miss the days of like Spaceballs and The Princess Bride, I don't
Mhm.
know how audiences largely, other than us or certain age groups that have seen that kind of film, would respond to it today. So, like, how would a Roger Moore style James Bond film do today? You know,
Yeah.
I
I
think you might have trouble
yeah.
with
Yeah,
this.
I agree. I mean, I do even as someone who, kind of enjoys something like you said, like Spaceballs or Princess Bride, um, I don't particularly enjoy Roger Moore all the time.
Sure.
He's not my favorite Bond. His kind of like camp isn't what grabs me about Bond, but I can appreciate him in that role in that way. I just can't
Right.
watch a lot of those films together. Like I wouldn't do like a Roger
Yeah.
Moore James Bond marathon. And yeah, I don't know that it would translate. We're kind of into like the movies anyway are kind of into a different kind of humor right now. So
Yep.
yeah.
I mean, it's like, where does it sit? Because you look at something like Kingsman has taken the
Mm-hmm.
idea of a high class spy, but then brought it way over the top. So
Mm-hmm.
bringing in sort of some of the humor and the camp and ridiculousness of a Roger Moore era Bond, and then
Mm-hmm.
amping up the style factor.
Right.
And then Mission Impossible is all about a team taking down some sort of threat, very what you'd think of espionage kind of thing, but then
Mm-hmm.
also having Tom Cruise do some insane stunt.
Right.
Um, Jason Bourne kind of died out because that was sort of the modern, you
Yeah.
know, um, like post 9/11
Mm-hmm.
Patriot Act kind of
Yeah.
travel the world, like, but your identity can be seen anywhere, and having to have the multiple it like felt grounded
It
despite
was
the
very
like crazy action.
realistic. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it had that. So what does James Bond have? And it really has to be that like ultimate luxury
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Yeah.
The most expensive of everything,
Mm-hmm.
like the idealistic fantasized spy life kind of movie.
Right.
And then
Right.
when you do that sort of thing, James Bond, like being really rich and being a womanizer and drinking a lot, then you get a certain audience that doesn't appreciate that either.
Right.
So it's just in a space where there's is and has been competition,
Mm-hmm.
and then a lot of what it's offering we've seen. And so
Yeah.
otherwise you have to branch out and be creative, and Hollywood's not good at that. And then obviously a
Yeah.
lot of people are going to complain that it's um what's too different, and it's not what it is. So I think
Right.
they should just quit
Yep.
right now.
Well, it'd be a
But
good point to do so. Um,
yep.
or, you know, hit pause at least, and then, who's ever gonna be buying MGM comes in and does something like like either totally newly creative or, kind of gets a throwback with a twist going
Yep.
on. 'Cause yeah, while you were talking, I was kind of trying to think of a word to describe James Bond. And I feel like the word I kept coming up with was like glossy. Like everything's
Mm.
smooth and polished. And I'm thinking like back to um like the some of my favorites are, Sean Connery and Pierce Brosnan, not all of their movies, but some of them. In a sense that I enjoyed the smoothness with which, James Bond kind of moved through his situations, his interactions with other people. Like everything was just very like he was just like gliding all the time. Everything just
Sure.
seemed like it was going to work out. He always had the great comeback, always had like time to flirt
Yep.
with the ladies. Like everything was just like it was going to work out.
Yep.
So,
It wasn't supposed to be realistic. It was supposed to
right.
be a fantasy. It's a
Right. And
fantasy trip.
right, and it was, but that was like
Yeah.
part of the charm of it was just like you could sit back and relax knowing that there were going to be crazy situations, but James Bond was going to get himself out of it because he's a smooth talker, he's a smooth operator, like,
Yep.
everything was just going to work out. And but we were there to have some fun and be part of his world for a little while. So,
I don't know if it was one of the Broccolis or if it was Cubby or whoever. I don't
mhm.
remember who said it, but it I agree with this. It's the idea that we're supposed to portray that if you're a man watching this thing, regular man, you think I want to be that. Like you want to
Mhm.
aspire, and you never will be, but you just want to aspire to be that. And the
Right.
woman wants to aspire to be with him. So it's this fantasy on both sides where
mhm.
you can shoot your sights,
Right.
and if you like always focus on that element of it, but I don't know if people want that anymore. So,
Yeah.
or enough people. But I would do, actually, as we were talking, I would do a period piece, let's go back and to do a like late 60s or 70s
Oh,
James Bond.
sure.
And so,
That
you
could be some
cast
fun.
a new actor, you get a who's the guy that's the invisible dude in Doom Patrol? Dorm.
Oh, Jamie Dornan?
Yeah, someone like that, you get him, you put him in the late 60s and make him be James Bond and I don't know. I would be cool with that.
Okay.
People are smoking again. You've got the cars for the time, and it would really throw back to the Connery kind of thing.
Yeah, I would totally be down for that. That seems like a lot of fun. That'd be a great way to like
Differentiate.
make it feel new but old somehow, like give it a little twist. By the way, I totally just misspoke there. It's Matt Bomer.
Oh, okay.
Is
what did you
the
say?
invisible guy. Jamie Dornan. Because
that's the 50 Shades guy.
Yeah, well, you said like Dorner or something, and that's the only thing I could bring to my brain. But yeah, as soon as I said it, I was like, not 50 Shades guy. Because I can't do that. I can't live through a 50 Shades James Bond. But yeah, no, that would be totally fun, and I could totally see him being like, I mean, he already like fits in like kind of retro time period.
Yeah.
That would be really fun. Let's make it happen. Let's buy MGM. Make it happen.
I'm gonna give. Yep. All right. We'll pool together. Let's see. I got something in my wallet here. We'll start a pot, and yeah.
Project goals for 2021.
Yep. And then just quickly in other movie news, there's still more kerfuffle going on about the HBO Max deal, moving all the WB movies and such to the service being in theater and on the streaming platform, and potential lawsuits and all this stuff. So we may get movies like Godzilla versus King Kong and Dune being delayed at least on the streaming platform.
Yeah,
because
saw that
there's contracts that seemingly aren't being fulfilled and such. So it's a complicated deal.
Yeah.
And
so far it seems like Wonder Woman is the only one that's for sure it's happening. They've fulfilled whatever pledge they made to the cast, crew, director. I know they paid a lot of money to get that availability on HBO Max as well. But of course, like we were talking about last time, that doesn't mean everybody is getting that.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, you gotta fulfill people's contracts. If you made a deal, you made a deal. Or you get into what I just broke with Star Wars stuff now too. You got Star Wars novelists that are claiming they have not seen any royalties that they've been deserved or owed since the Disney acquisition.
Right.
So they're like, our books that we've written are in print, in circulation. They're making money, and we're not seeing a dime for it. So, your contracts come with your acquisitions.
Right.
You don't get to just, unless you renegotiate all of those contracts, then.
Right.
So.
Which you generally have to let people know.
Yep. Generally it's agreed upon. Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Especially if you're going to be actually using their content still. You can't just use it and then be like, surprise, we'd like to renegotiate your contract. That's definitely not how that works. It's not retroactive.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Christmas time. Yay. Woo-hoo. Jingle bells. We have a little like sleigh sound right now, whatever. Alan, you're on that, right? Jingle sound. What are some of your favorite Christmas movies? I see you also put like some hot takes.
Yeah.
Controversial opinions.
Yeah, that's right.
I think some of them in my book aren't all that controversial.
Okay.
So might be on the same
I feel like they for some people they might be. I mean, obviously there's so many Christmas movies out there. Everybody's going to have their own opinions about, what they think is a classic, what they watched in their childhood, what they do now. Um, a lot I feel like for me is what I did watch in my childhood. So my family was big into um, we had every year on Christmas Eve, we would sit down and watch two movies, Holiday Inn and White Christmas. So it was like Bing Crosby all the way.
I
And
love those movies.
I, oh God, I love those movies. They're so
Okay.
good. They're so
Yeah.
much fun. There's such great music, great singers. I mean, you do kind of have to like a little bit of, a musical element to your movie to truly enjoy them. Um, but I still think like the fun, the spirit, like it's old Hollywood, like glitz and glam. It's a lot of fun. And I'm talking about both movies, really. Um,
Okay.
and I just think they're well done. So those are kind of my favorites. I still watch them every year. We talked last week about a little bit about Muppet Christmas Carol. That's my favorite Christmas Carol. I just think it's like the funniest, best take on
Yeah.
Dickens because he does get so dark sometimes. You just need that like Muppets fun to lift it up a little bit. And then
Marley and Marley.
woo,
Yeah.
yes, I'm good at that part. Um, and then two of my other favorites when I was a kid were Home Alone, which I feel like every like 90s kid has.
Yep.
Like even if it's not your favorite, like you definitely watched it.
Yep.
Because you wanted to be Kevin, you wanted to like be pulling off these like ridiculously cool pranks. And I'm sure there are a lot of like Christmas injuries and very unhappy parents with like booby traps around houses.
I want
Um,
to see the behind the scenes footage where he's like taking this giant 4-foot steel pipe and stringing it up above the
right?
stairway and stuff,
Like, yeah, you definitely
let's see him
couldn't
do
think
that.
about it too hard. Like this 9-year-old, like stringing up some paint cans and
Yep.
steel pipes, and knowing how electricity would work when you hook it up to like a sink, and
Yep.
um, yeah, you can't think about it too hard because this kid just like would blow your mind. I think with what he could do. Um, but yeah, so Home Alone was definitely one of my favorites. It it was like the first Home Alone I feel like was kind of actually really creepy. So it was like kind of scary for like as a
Mm.
kid if you were thinking about being home alone. But also like just a ton of fun. Like I loved the concept. Cause what kid I think hasn't dreamed about just like, yeah, I could stay home alone, eat pizza, ice cream, watch movies as late as I want. Just a great time.
So
And
you
then
like the first one better than the second one?
I do. I think the second one is more fun. Like it's way more lighthearted than the first
Yep.
one, but I believe the concept more in the first one of just like he's left home alone, like he has to
Sure.
figure out how to live. I love his like trip to the grocery store where he's, like buying his toothbrush and mac and cheese and stuff. I don't know. It's just there's like something like really funny about it. Like it's both real and funny. And I think the gags are pretty good in the first one. So yeah, I enjoy the second,
Yeah.
but to me, the first one is the best. So I see that you're the opposite of me. You have Home Alone
Yes.
2.
Yeah, I like you said, it's more fun.
Mhm.
It is definitely less
It's more
realistic.
playful.
Yeah, it's more playful. Um, I forgot who I just saw. They compared to the crazy bird lady.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
God, who was that? I don't remember, but yeah, there's moments like that character, and I love the stuff in the hotel
Yep.
having what's his
Tim
face from,
Curry.
yeah, like
Yeah.
he's great.
He's so
Um,
good.
so I have a lot of fun with that one. Like you
Yep.
say, the first one being more realistic, but
Yeah.
and then we share the Santa Claus.
Yes. I love
Me
that
and
movie.
another.
Only the first one though. I
Okay.
really didn't enjoy like the whole like, Santa Claus 2, you got to find Mrs. Claus, and then like Jack Frost takes over. Like I was just like really done with 2 and 3, which I unfortunately feel like is the case with many series. They have a
Yeah.
great idea and then they just slowly ruin it.
Yep.
But the first one is pretty great.
Yep.
Tim
I think
Allen
it's the first one for
weirdly.
me where
Oh, go ahead.
they really put some production value and some
Yeah.
seriousness into the idea of Santa and like
Mhm.
flying on like what else before that? Did they
Mhm.
have a convincing flying on the sleigh and showing
Yes.
the North Pole kind of different in the elves and without it just being like completely silly?
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah, I was gonna say Tim Allen makes a very convincing Santa Claus, which, when you just look at him, you would not think would be the case.
Right.
And they do a great job with like the CGI into like,
Yep.
growing the beard, getting big, filling out the role of Santa, and then yeah, with his reindeer, the elves. It's all pretty great.
His
So,
transformation emotionally is
mhm.
really good. Like how he
Yes.
becomes so soft and like caring, and you really see that guy that makes
Mhm.
sense for Santa from being a guy that's just frustrated during the holidays, whatever
Yes.
dad. And so they do very, very well with that. They, some funny comedic like the new dad guy, it's a dork and
Yes.
whatever.
Judge Reinhold,
And
yeah.
yeah, and my sister and we wanted to be like the elves. They had their like elf
Yes.
rescue team and they made the
Oh my
elves
god,
cool.
yes. When they got
So,
in their like little jetpacks and they went to rescue Santa from jail, and yeah,
yes.
who
They
didn't.
had tinsel that just cuts the locks.
Yes, or like they spun the security guard around and you were just like, "Oh man." I feel like that again was like part of the fun and joy of those 90s movies, just the same as like Home Alone, where you wanted to be
Yeah.
the one to think of all those like crazy pranks. You wanted to be the elves, whipping out all the cool Christmas tools.
Yep.
So yeah, yeah, those are definitely some of my favorites. And then I also remembered, they're not my favorite, but I just remember watching them like over and over when I was a kid. So I must have loved
hmm
them back then. But like the Rankin and Bass did like the whole claymation series. So they did like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Santa Claus is Coming to Town. I know they had like the little drummer boy. They had Jack Frost. They had a bunch of them, but Rudolph and Santa Claus were the ones that I watched.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, so
They're the
yeah,
classics. Yeah. That's
yeah, I remember. I
absolutely.
just remember those a lot. And then like from the animated side, Frosty the Snowman and the Grinch.
Yep.
I, I really loved. I loved the Grinch, and I loved. This might be controversial, yay or nay. I love Jim Carrey's The Grinch.
I think a lot of people feel that way. I've only seen bits of it. I remember in school, like Christmas break was coming up, and we don't want to do any work, so here's a movie, and they'd put
Yeah.
in that or something, and it I'm such a fan of the original Grinch that I didn't need to see that, but yeah, I think a lot of people like that film.
It's a good outlet for all of his excess,
Yeah.
he is a lot. He is over the top, and he could do that with the Grinch. And it worked out, I think. And it wasn't too like you're watching Jim Carrey because wow, the makeup.
Yep.
They hid him well, so it was just you just felt the energy without watching Jim Carrey. So
Yep. All right. Your controversial opinions.
yes, I hate Miracle on 34th Street. I hate it. I don't
I've
like
never
it.
seen it. Never
Either
seen it.
version? You haven't seen the
Either version.
remake, or okay.
No.
So the original is the little girl is Natalie Wood, and then the remake is oh gosh, the girl from Matilda,
Mm.
and the littlest child from Mrs. Doubtfire, like the youngest daughter, if you've seen that. Um but anyway, like they're both just like, the same Like, you'd find the department store Santa and this little girl like believes in him. And Mara Wilson, thank you, Alan. Oh my goodness, I could not think of her name. But yeah, I don't care about it. Like, I don't like the story. I know it's supposed to be this cute, like, you got to believe in Santa, and little kids can sometimes show you what belief is, and adults should be like that too. And I just like I'm not into it at all. It doesn't get me in that spirit. It doesn't get me in that mindset. And I just think the storyline's kind of weak. So
I have to say,
not in love with it.
Your controversial opinions, I agree with everything here, except for I haven't seen Miracle on 34th Street, so I can't speak to it.
Okay.
But everything else, totally agree. So
you hate Christmas Story too?
Yep.
Oh my God, I totally hate it
so much.
Oh, Christmas Family loves it so much. They watch it every year. And
I hate the stupid leg
year.
lamp. I just like the tongue stuck on it just is not, you're going to shoot your eye out. I don't like, it's not, I don't know. Maybe it's because it's been over advertised or it's overhyped or something. It's just not very good.
Yeah, I'm not into it at all.
And Ashley likes it. Ashley likes it.
I don't like it. Yeah, I don't find it all that amusing. I mean, I know it's supposed to be like, Midwestern kind of deal, and you're supposed to kind of feel like, this is like average, kind of not small town, but like suburby kind of thing. And I don't get it. I don't get any of it. I don't relate to any of it.
Yeah.
So, and I don't.
The kids are weird.
Yeah.
They're really weird. It's just a weird film. And I like weird, but it's not a good weird.
Yeah. I don't dig the narration of, like the main kid doing his story or whatever. Like it doesn't grab me at all. So unfortunately, I hate A Christmas Story, but I'm suffering through it every year. Just the once, but it happens. And then, my other one, I have never seen It's a Wonderful Life, and I never want to. I know that's also supposed to be like,
that's supposed to be pretty good, but yeah, I haven't seen that either. I mean, I would watch it because it is supposed to be so good, but
if somebody sat me down and was like, all right, I'm going to like pour you a drink and make you some food, and in return, I want you to watch this, maybe. But I don't have any desire to see it on my own. I know it's supposed to be this like very cute, I mean, again, like reaffirming your belief in Christmas and miracles happen and things work out, and you got to appreciate life. But I just like don't care at all about it.
You're heartless, Andrea. You're heartless.
I am down with Christmas. My final one is I had never seen Elf for a really long time, and I really resisted it because I thought it was like one of the stupid Will Ferrell movies. I mean, he has his good ones, and then he has his like, oh boy. And I just thought Elf was kind of under the latter category where it was going to be really dumb. And then I was at a cookie making party, and we were watching Christmas movies at the same time, and Elf came on, and I was like, all right, well, can't really do much about changing the channel. I've got my, hands full of cookies or whatever. And I watched it and ended up just being like riveted. I loved it. And I was like, oh my God, this is so great. Like, I love this movie. I finally get what everybody's talking about. I get the jokes. I get, the references. And then sat down to watch it the next year and was like, oh, like, this is what I was so enraptured with. Like, and I've watched it a couple of times since just to, see if maybe I was missing something. And it's perfectly fine each time. It's just not great. Like that first viewing was really good and I loved it. And then now it's just kind of,
I like your idea that it loses its charm, because I do think it's a good film. I think it's something a little different. It's told in a fun way. And I think that for a lot of people, it was their first exposure to Zooey Deschanel.
Yep.
And then they'd look up her music and that kind of thing.
Right.
So I think it's good. I think my mom likes it a lot. I think Ashley likes it too. It's good. Yeah, she
Mhm.
and him, the group. Like she has a
Right.
beautiful voice,
She
and
does. Absolutely.
but yeah, I've seen it, and I mean I get it that maple syrup is one of the food groups, and candy corn and candy canes and all the stuff. But I don't.
Build the candy spaghetti.
Yeah, I don't get any more out of it now. Rewatching it, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
It's still fine, and I
Mhm.
don't hate it. Like, if it's on the television, sure, it's there, but it's not, yeah, like I said, it just loses the
Yep.
charm. The first time I just really loved it, and now it's just sort of like, all right, that's fine.
Well, we can be in the bushes together with these controversial opinions. So throw us in the bushes. So.
That's right. That's right. I mean, feel free, anybody, come at me if you've got,
Yeah.
major disagreements with what I've said, but yeah, that's mostly how I feel.
Well, we already talked about I like Home Alone too, but
Hmm.
then I really like watching every year National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I just,
Okay.
to me, that one
That
is,
one
I
resonates
just,
for you
I,
more than
yeah, I
like
just want to
Christmas
see that it,
Story.
yeah, shows my classiness right there. Um, it,
Well, I feel like those two are, they're comparable in a
yes, yeah,
sense.
yes, I would agree. I like the National Lampoon's sense of humor in a lot of that stuff. So,
Hmm.
but I just enjoy seeing this one every year. Ashley doesn't. She's like, oh my God, I don't need to see that one again. It's just, but this is one that I'd like to see each year. It's basically the one Christmas movie I want to see each year.
Okay.
And I don't
Okay.
even have to like be really paying attention to it. I
It
want it
just
to
has to
be
be
on.
on. Yep.
Yes, I want, yeah, right. I see some of those moments and that's it.
Yep.
And then I have a lot of like I do this with Halloween too, but with Christmas in particular, there's a lot of films that I like to watch that aren't really Christmas movies necessarily.
They're Christmas
That
adjacent.
yeah, that just to me are Christmas. And
Okay.
so I'll like say that I love the Santa Claus and the Grinch, but then use this to transition to kind of our next thing. I like Harry Potter. I think I put 1 through 3, but really 1 through 4.
Hmm.
They feel right for Christmas.
Sure.
Um, the first Die Hard film,
That
and
that
then
is definitely a Christmas
yeah, it's
classic.
during Christmas, it's about
Absolutely. Yeah.
Christmas. Yes,
It's the most Christmassy non-Christmas movie.
yes, yep. And then my kind of number one not Christmas movie is Batman Returns.
Yeah, so this one you're gonna have to explain.
Okay. So, firstly, it's very tough for me to choose a favorite Batman film, but this one
Totally.
is always in the discussion for me. I
Hmm.
love Batman Returns, and Batman Returns takes place during Christmas. One of the main gags, or like the things that continues to come up, is mistletoe. The way that Batman spoilers for Batman Returns from like 1990 um, is that they one of them says when Batman and Catwoman are fighting, mistletoe is poisonous if you eat it, and then the response is like, but a kiss can be deadlier if you mean it, and
Okay.
then the line gets reversed at a like I think they say that out of costume as Selena and Bruce, and then they like say the line
Okay.
when in costume, and it's like, oh my God, you're whatever how that went. And so yeah, mistletoe is a thing. There's
Okay. Okay.
Christmas shopping being done. They're lighting the tree. They have the woman that's gonna light the tree, and then the penguin scares her with the bats and
Right.
kidnaps her.
Right.
Um, and
Okay.
so the whole movie takes place during Christmas, and
Okay.
it just happens to be one of the best. Alfred says like "Merry Christmas" in there to
Yeah.
Batman. It just it's
All
absorbed in
right.
that. So
All right. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
yep.
Yeah, when I first saw that on there, I was like, boy, John, where are we going with this? Where are we going with Batman?
That
But
movie
yeah.
is in my top like just of films. It
Yeah.
just it's the perfect use of Tim Burton's style and weirdness.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's the perfect portrayal of Selena Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it is the best work of, well, at least in terms of, let's see, what's his name again now? Darn it. He always does the music with, almost always does the music with Tim Burton.
Oh, Danny
yeah.
Elfman. Yeah.
Yes, Danny
Mm-hmm.
Elfman. Yes.
Thank you, Alan.
So it's one of his best. A couple songs in particular is like Oswald Cobblepot going to visit the grave of his parents. Very powerful piece. And the opening of the film, the theme he made was so great. And then Selena Kyle, when she breaks down, when she has a conniption and just freaks out, powerful song. So anyways, that's my rant and rave about Batman Returns. Probably the best Christmas movie ever made. So.
All right. I like it. It's a bold statement. Best Christmas movie ever made. Everybody sit down on Christmas. Ignore your Rankin and Bass. Ignore your Santa Claus. Batman Returns it.
Yep. But yeah, in terms of non-Christmas movies, so I thought the other thing that had brought me a childlike exuberance and excitement some number of years ago, like, I don't know, about the same time we were living in the same place and everything,
sure,
was Doctor Who.
Yes.
Doctor Who just really had a moment in time that it was brought a magical experience to television. And I just get these moments where I remember how obsessed I was. And a big part, right, of Doctor Who is the Christmas special each year. And there's been some that are very Christmas oriented, and some they would just use to transition to a new doctor. And so they're not Christmas oriented necessarily, but great nonetheless. So I thought we could talk about our favorite Doctor Who Christmas specials.
Yes. And I see we each have like different ones. So I kind of love that we're getting different things out of the Christmas special. I know two of mine are the same doctor, and then one like very different one as well. But
so you got a nice 3-2-1 list.
Yes.
So why don't we hear that and give us your why or what you like about them?
For sure. So my number 3 is Last Christmas. And that is Capaldi with Clara as his companion. And I really enjoyed this totally differently than the number 2 and number 1 on my list. This is like a little bit more into like Doctor Who darker. It's got like a very alien plot because Doctor Who is like up at the North Pole up at the North Pole at this like research lab where they've accidentally sort of freed these little alien guys that do like a face hugger thing, very similar to the face hugger in Aliens, except it doesn't take you over and make you a host. It just like induces these dreams while it slowly kind of, I believe is supposed to like suck the life out of you, which not much better. But anyway, at least you won't have little alien guys bursting out of your chest. So I liked that like callback. For me, Alien is one of my favorite movies. So I was like totally into this premise. And then I thought like each character's like dreamland that they live in while they've got this like face hugger, and the way that they have to like fight through their dreams was just like this really cool concept. And I really enjoyed it. And I thought they did a great job of like Inception style planting these like various levels of dream worlds that like everybody had to fight through to save the day. And yeah, I really enjoyed the storyline, and it was one of the stronger Capaldi episodes for me. I still struggle with him a lot, and I struggle with his seasons, but this Christmas special was great, I thought.
I don't
So
think I've seen it in its entirety.
I enjoyed it. I would highly recommend doing it.
Okay.
I believe this also has oh gosh, what's his face? Who works with Simon Pegg?
Yeah, Nick Frost.
Nick Frost. Yeah, he's
Yep,
Santa.
Santa.
Yep, which I quite enjoyed a lot. So yeah, that was kind of like a fun little like, you
Yeah.
know, little cameo in there. And then my number 2 and my number 1 are both with David Tennant's 10th Doctor, Runaway Bride, which it gave us the incomparable Donna Noble. It's our first introduction to her and her whole, Christmas wedding that she's going to have. And I just love the chemistry between David Tennant and Catherine Tate. They're just such good, like, bickery friends, and their comedic
Sure.
timing and the way their energy bounces off of one another. They work so well as a duo. And I was totally all bought into like Donna's story. Like I said, their chemistry, but then also like the very, this is the first time we see the Doctor grieving after he loses Rose. So he's a little bit wild and all over the place emotionally. She has to kind of reel him back. So there were real emotional stakes there as well for us. And I just
Again,
thought it was
spoilers for something that's over a
oh,
decade old.
right. Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, I thought that was a really well done episode. It had like our humor, it had our energy, it had our stakes of, we're saving Donna's Christmas wedding. But then also some very real personal stakes for the Doctor's emotional growth and ability to heal
Sure.
and move forward. So that was beautiful to me. And then Christmas Invasion is my number 1 because it of course introduces us to David Tennant and his
you and guys and David
charisma.
Tennant. Who's
Ah,
Chris's favorite Doctor?
oh boy, I think it's Matt Smith.
Okay. It seems that this is a sex divide usually.
Yeah,
Usually.
David Tennant.
There's so many women within our age bracket. They're like, David Tennant, David Tennant. And then the guys are like, recognize the truth that Matt Smith is the better
No,
Doctor.
y'all just be jealous. Y'all just be jealous.
I know one woman that agrees with me that Matt Smith is superior. But,
Yeah, I'll have to ask and double check that is true. I think that I know that Chris likes some of Matt Smith's episodes better than he likes David Tennant's. I'm not sure overall if he might say David Tennant. But I know that he's more interested in some of like the mini story arcs that happened during Matt Smith's Doctor.
Sure.
But yeah, so Christmas Invasion is, I think, just like a whole ton of fun to get introduced to David Tennant and just like the sheer joy of him like becoming the Doctor.
Sure.
So that to me is just like, and it's a fun episode because, we get like Christmas, we get a new Doctor, we get Rose trying to take care of the Doctor and figure out what's going on. We have real like intergalactic sort of politics trying to be, happening, and like what would that look like. But then we also get like an old-fashioned sword fight,
Yeah.
fate of humanity, and just
Yeah.
so it's just like a lot of fun. So
Okay. I couldn't pick that one because after that which isn't odd, but I wasn't sold on David Tennant being the next Doctor. To me, often, there needs to be that time to really see what they're going to be like. It's kind of like Capaldi, where when he was introduced, I thought, oh, they're going to have a meaner, darker, calmer Doctor. And then they didn't do that at all.
no, they really didn't.
And then with the 12th Doctor, when they brought her in, I'm like, okay, so here's someone again different, but then they failed on the writing. So there's the first episode. There always there's a lot to I'm usually never convinced right away.
Mm-hmm.
Is my point, I guess. So
Sure.
Matt Smith being the exception. But okay, well, it's a good list. I did it. So it's Christmas Invasion. They must talk about Christmas. I don't remember Christmas being a thing in there much, but it must have been right during that then. And
Yeah, so they crash land on Earth when it is Christmas, and then they have like the Christmas trees that like spin around and start attacking people, and
yes,
the Santa band that like follows them around and tries to,
Yep.
send explosives their way. So, and then of course the beautiful Christmas snow that ends up being blown up bits of alien spaceship. At the
Yep.
end, it's like this beautiful, lovely, like, oh, it's Christmas, it's snowing, and the doctor's like, yeah, that's dead matter. So that's what you're being rained on right now. So yeah, it's there. It's just not forefront.
Yep. Well, I have I guess I listed 4,
Mhm.
and I only have I have a number 1 basically. So I have 2 of them that I put on there because I love them so much, but to me they don't scream Christmas. So they're not
Yeah.
something that I'm trying to watch for Christmas.
Yeah.
They just happened that they were the Christmas special, and
Right.
so The End of Time was a 2-parter, end of
Mhm.
2009 and the beginning of 2010,
Mhm.
and that was David Tennant's change.
Yes. Mhm.
And though there's some weird stuff in there, I just love it for how well it's emotionally played.
Yes.
It is very sad. With the doctor like sacrificing himself for Donna's father,
Mhm.
and then him really not wanting to go, and the Oods
Mhm.
singing him into transition. Like that's I have the chills right now.
Yeah.
It's sad, it's emotional, and it's well done.
Yes.
And so that's on my list.
It is, yeah,
Though
it's
it
a
doesn't feel like
beautiful
Christmas.
goodbye.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a beautiful goodbye. It's a beautiful closing chapter. Yeah, there's like nothing Christmassy in there, but it's, the Christmas special, of course. So
Yep.
gets it by
See, and I
default.
feel like Matt Smith is the only doctor that got the shaft in terms of a goodbye, a good one.
I will agree with you. Absolutely.
Because everyone else, they decided on Matt Smith to focus on his relationship with Amy Pond
Mm-hmm.
when he had like the way they made him treat Clara at the end
Mm-hmm.
was a disgrace. And
Yes.
I'm glad they kind of made up for it during Capaldi.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the early bits of Capaldi, they sort of tried to correct course.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a shame because I think Eccleston, I think Tennant, and I think Capaldi all had goodbyes.
Yes.
And I think Tennant had the best here. So
yes, I agree.
I just hit a button and I don't know what I did. I did that. Okay, there we go. And then Twice Upon a Time, I put a question mark by that. That's 2017. That's Capaldi, and I just don't remember it well enough. But if I think that's the one that they have the first Doctor in it, and if I remember liking it a lot.
Yeah.
So they bring in the guy that plays Filch in Harry Potter, and he's in
Right.
Game of Thrones. He does an amazing job as portraying the
David Bradley.
David Bradley, yep, portraying the first Doctor.
Mhm.
And if I recall,
Yeah, okay.
I liked this special.
This is coming back to me now.
He was like stuck somewhere, and he is
Yep.
like punching this wall, and I don't remember how it happened. I just remember enjoying it because I
Yeah.
love seeing the first Doctor in there, a Doctor that actually acts differently
Mhm.
than the more recent Doctors where they become too samey.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I know I watched this, but I watched it out of context with like any surrounding episodes of Capaldi's, so it was, a little less
You're falling
meaningful.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were
Mhm.
falling off. Yep. So then my actual top two in terms of Christmas, like I think of Christmas,
Mm,
Voyage of the Damned.
I do like
That's a
this
David
one.
Tennant. Yeah, 2007, and it's a silly but heartwarming
Hmm.
one where they're on this like space Titanic cruise, a bunch of rich people, and and the doctor's pretty down and
Yep.
during this, and it's kind of I don't know, it's just well done.
Hmm.
He meets a good friend that could have potentially been another companion on
Right.
there. Um, so
Well, and it's fun. I mean, it's got like some elements like, they're aboard like a replica of the HMS Titanic. So, automatically it's kind of like fun for people to be like, "Oh my gosh, Titanic,"
mhm.
Um it brings like a feeling to your mind, and it's like one of those just like big things. But then also like it's like space tourism. Like these people are
Yep.
orbiting Earth to observe like the quaint Earth custom of, celebrating Christmas. And it's kind of a fun way to both be in Christmas,
Yep.
but also outside it,
Yeah.
looking in. So, and then of course, like the glamour of being on this ship at Christmas time, and they're having the parties and whatnot. So,
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Ellen just pointed out Kylie Minogue.
okay.
Um, she was the possible companion that wasn't,
Yep.
because of course they wrote this specially for her, just to do that like one special episode, which is pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah. And then Matt Smith's A Christmas Carol. So that one,
Yeah.
I, for me, was extra special because
Mhm.
I'd been out of Doctor Who. Had been giving it a chance for longer than it deserved, and had fallen off off my radar and stuff. And I somehow missed A Christmas Carol from 2010. I don't know how, because it would have
Okay.
been, right in the middle of the height of Doctor Who and stuff, for me. And but I didn't see it, and so it was either last year or the year before. Per tradition, we were getting up really early, watching TV, and it was on, and I watched it, and I loved it, and it reminded me of how much I loved Doctor Who. It just
Yeah.
brought that passion right back, and it was amazing because it was brand new to me. It's like I didn't get to see this before, so it was just the extra treat. It was just so perfect. So I intend to watch that again this year.
Sure.
Um, and yeah, that's my favorite then. And I also intend to watch The Husbands of River Song because again, that was during when I'd basically fallen out. But I do like River Song quite a bit,
Mm-hmm.
and I have liked some Capaldi things, so I would like to give that a shot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was kind of fun that you suggested, recounting our favorite Doctor Who Christmas specials, because I do remember, like as you'd said that, I was like, I do remember the height of, my own Doctor Who mania, and the excitement with which I looked forward to the Christmas special. Um, and it was just kind of a bummer to feel like I lost that a little bit now in the more
yeah,
recent years, and I want to go back and like give it another shot, give it another go. I know I've tried to do that once before, but I don't know. I
yep.
do miss it. So
Well, you give it another go in rewatching it. Like, don't
yeah,
try to,
yeah.
yeah, because yeah, I mean, now it brings that back. I mean, it's one of those things where not often as an adult, I think, even someone like that keeps my creativity alive as much as I think I do, to capture the kind of magic that a kid has during Christmas or something. And so you'll have a lot of that brought back, bringing kin into this world now and stuff, for sure.
Right.
But as an adult, there's a limited number of things. Like I try to do it with Christmas. Going to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter in Orlando was one
Right.
of those things or whatever. But then Doctor Who really hit that point, and yeah, so it's a shame that it's lost its luster. And
Yes.
for our Christmas party, we would normally put on some music and stuff for a while, but we're just gonna do Doctor Who all day. We're gonna
All
put Doctor
right.
Who on, starting at the restart with Eccleston. when we get up in the morning, and it's just going to run all day. We'll see where it ends up. So
Nice. Nice. I like it. Yeah, you do kind of have to get back in at the beginning.
mhm.
There's something to be said about, jumping in at a doctor, but it's so much harder that way. I just feel like the whole magic of the Doctor Who reboot begins with Eccleston, and you really can't just like skip over and go back to doctors
Sure,
without sacrificing some of that.
sure. All right. Well, in our final topic,
Yeah.
spoiler time for a movie that's about a year old or something.
Yes.
Christmas Chronicles. So
Yes.
part two was just released this year, it looks like, on
Mhm.
Netflix.
Mhm.
We had not seen part one, so we watched part one now. Christmas Chronicles, part one, Netflix with Kurt Russell.
Yes. It
Um,
is most definitely the Kurt Russell show.
yeah, yes. So what'd you think? Did you come away enjoying it?
I did. I thought it was cute. It was a nice update of what I felt like 90s spirit was. Like
Okay.
kind of a like it would have been at home with something like the Santa Claus. You know what I mean? It's not quite the exact same as that, but it has that feeling to it of, you know, we're in trouble, we've got to save Christmas. These kids are helping out Santa and rescuing the Christmas spirit. We even got like a Santa's in jail and we need a jailbreak.
Hmm.
We got to meet the elves and get inside this whole little world and see how this operation runs. And I thought it was really cute. Like it was a good like half Christmas adventure slash caper, and half like heartwarming. We're gonna do something for unexpected to bring about the magic of
Yep.
Christmas again. So I really enjoyed it, but I do have to say that yeah, that was just like me watching Kurt Russell. Like it do you know what I mean? Like he just at every moment I was just like very aware that
But
Kurt
I
Russell
loved
was
it.
playing Santa Claus. Like
Yeah.
it worked, but it just
Yeah.
wasn't like he's disappearing into the role of Santa Claus and it's Santa. But it was Kurt Russell as Santa. But it was fun. He kind of had like
Yeah.
a rock star Kurt Russell Santa vibe
Yeah.
somehow.
Yep. Great. I mean, the blues performance in the prison
So much
is the
fun.
highlight of the film for me.
Absolutely.
Uh, so I like the idea that when Christmas cheer is down, basically. Do you remember the Dark Ages? Yep,
Yes.
there it was. Was it didn't have anything to do with the climate being colder and less food and stuff like
No.
that. It was just
No.
Christmas cheer is down.
That's right.
Uh,
Real consequences to not celebrating and believing in Christmas, people. We don't
yep.
want a second dark age, so
Um, but I was bothered at the beginning because I
okay.
mean, kids in movies, and these
Yes.
kids, particularly this punk, I'm like, God, I hate this
Teenage
kid,
son. Yeah.
And I knew they'd bring him around. I knew that,
Yep.
but still, it
Doesn't
was
stop him
like,
from being like a little asshole in the beginning. You
right,
know?
exactly.
Like there's always that like teenage kid who's just like a jerk to their younger sibling and
Mhm.
you're just like, "Oh, why are you like that?"
Yep,
You just watch them and you're just like, "Ick." Like just be better. And they're
yep.
kind of a jerk to their parent. Usually like in this scenario it's some sort of like single parent who's already having it rough and then, you know,
Mhm.
you've got this like teenage kid that you're just like, "Can you just chill?" And like give
And then the
them
parent
everybody a break.
dies, and then they can't apologize, and
Right. Right.
something, yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, I agree with you. It was rough starting out even though you knew by the end it was going to be better.
Yep. But I was happy with they had a few things that were that felt original about it,
Mhm.
the take on the elves and the Santa was zipping around and some of the
Yeah.
maneuvering in the sleigh and
Mhm.
the way that you could get to the North Pole in the toy bag, like all that was pretty cool, and a little different.
I agree.
Uh,
They did a good job building like a mythology of Santa Claus. Like, how would everything work? You
Yeah.
know,
Yep.
like how would his reindeer fly? Like, oh, you need like jingle bells attached, and
Yep.
like that lifts, them up into the air. You need the toy bag. How does that work? And it can get you to like you said, to the North Pole, to the elves, um, who were like very different, you know.
Yeah.
I called them, what did I call them? Like kind of a cross between like gremlins and like the trolls from the movie Trolls.
Yeah. The
Because they
little
had like
hair
long hair
rolls.
and stuff like
Yeah.
that, that seemed sort of magical. Um, they had their own language that they
Hmm.
would speak, and it seemed like really thought out, you know. It wasn't just like a bunch of gobbledygook put together. I said, the writer was Noel Tolkien, but did a better job, I think, than probably your average writer could. Um, yeah, so that was like really, like you said, like the Santa's got to wear his hat and like zip around. They had like a time vortex that the sleigh would go into that looked
Yep.
like very Doctor Who-ish, actually.
Yep.
Speaking of, so yeah, so it was really fun to like to see this be really well thought out.
Yeah. I think it's not my favorite Christmas movie, but I think it's exactly what a Christmas movie should be. It's a perfect thing for kids to love that their parents can watch with them and enjoy too. And I
Yes.
just think it, tells some good messages and makes little kids believe in Santa and
Hmm.
want to believe in Santa because I mean, what we were saying, what would those elves have done if she wasn't a true believer? I mean,
Right.
the one had a chainsaw, he was ready to go.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
I yeah, that whole moment where uh the older brother's like pinned down by the elves and they're like ready to take him out or whatever.
yep,
That I know this was like totally out of left field, but that gave me like a very like Goldfinger vibe where
sure.
like James
Yeah, I
Bond's
mean
like on the
that's what
table.
yeah.
I just I saw that and I was like, whoa, like this is getting real. This is kind of fun. Kind of doing some call outs to some other movies and reminding me of other scenarios in like a good way, in a good borrow kind of way.
We were saying that guy should be one of Krampus's helpers.
Yes.
Uh,
Some of those
that's
some of
the
those little
wrong
elves
one.
were intense.
Yeah. Mhm. All right. Well, maybe next year I'll watch part two.
Yeah, I would be down with it. I think this is a nice change of pace from like the million trillion, carbon copies of Hallmark movies that are being, Christmas rom-coms and
Sure.
kind of sameness that's going around. This is actually like a cute like Christmas story that doesn't have to involve, you know, a guy and a girl, like crazy happenings over Christmas. Somehow they
Sure.
fall in love. Um, Even though I did quite enjoy the addition of Mrs. Claus at the
Yeah.
end, little
Goldie.
Goldie Hawn real life
Yeah.
partner action. That was pretty
Yeah.
great. And I obviously on the screen for Christmas Chronicles 2 saw that she's again back and playing Mrs. Claus. So
Well, good. I didn't know we were talking to about watching a movie on Netflix called Claws. I
yeah.
didn't get to that one. Probably could have if I would have like now worried about what drink I was going to make tonight or something. But should I watch it? Is it good?
So far I've watched about 20 minutes of it. It's about an hour and a half. I'm liking it so far.
Okay.
It's fun. It's very like Emperor's New Groove to start out with. We've got like a spoiled, self-centered guy who thinks he's like the center of the universe and is very entitled and just wants to have a good time, wear some good clothes, party it up. And his dad is trying to like shape him up, um, and sends him to like the Postmaster Academy because he's like the Postmaster General for all of Europe. Doesn't take it seriously, so he's like, okay, well, I'm not just gonna let you like do nothing and go back to your life of luxury. You're gonna go set up a post office in like the most remote place I can send you, which is like basically almost right next to the North Pole, and you have a year to make it happen. And yeah, Smearenburg is where this guy gets sent to. And so I this is about as far as I've gotten. He's sent to Smearenburg to set up this post office, and he has to um, ensure that a certain number of letters go through. So the premise is that he kind of sets up kids writing to Santa Claus to tell him what they want for Christmas, and he finds a partner to then like build the toys and things that these kids want for Christmas, and that's how the letters to Santa get started. So it's like an actual person starting, the tradition of mailing your letters to Santa Claus.
Sure. Nice.
So yeah, I have no idea how it's going to keep going, but it's been fun so far.
Okay. And that's animated, isn't it?
It is indeed. Okay. Which is why I compared it kind of to Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah,
it's kind of got that vibe to it, except of course, obviously different time periods and quite different, continental settings, but sure. It's kind of got that same style to me.
Nice. All right. I hope everyone feels fully Christmased, full of holiday cheer, that kind of thing.
If not, make yourself a cup of holiday cheer.
Yep. That's right. Well, yeah, that's good. I love talking about Doctor Who. I love the Christmas time of year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna try to squeeze in as many extra Christmassy things as I can yet.
Yes.
You
still got a couple days. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Well, everybody, you should follow us here on Twitch and on YouTube. You should also take a look at our Twitter and Facebook. Our theme is brought to you by Killing the Flower. They are on YouTube and Instagram, and Spotify. So go to take a look at their music. Mm-hmm. And otherwise, make sure you follow and comment and share and all that sort of thing. Let us know what you want us to talk about next. Let us know your favorite Doctor Who Christmas special. And if you think we're just full of it when it comes to our super controversial Christmas movie dislikes.
That's right. I know my husband will have a thing or two to say about Christmas Story. So, if you're one of those people, come at me. Let's go.
Yep. All right. Well, I am John. Thank you, Andrea, for joining me once again, and we'll see you later.
Sounds good. Happy holidays, everybody.